had started reading about Addie and this concept of crowdfunding in real estate. This is really the only way where you could have up to 5, 10 pieces of the pie across Canada. And so I thought I have to try this out for myself.
I really enjoyed chatting with Monica. And while I did learn a lot, what was eating away at me before meeting with her was still there. I needed to speak to someone who wasn't in the business. A man about town. A voice of the people. And that's what led me to Albert.
Nice to meet you.
How are you?
Nice to meet you, Albert. First off, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Albert Biggs. I am a retired taxi driver here in Vancouver.
How did you hear about Addie? And when you started, did you think it was a scam? Because that's something I'm trying to get over.
Yes, at first I thought it was a scam. If it's on the internet, you got to be cautious. But after all the details that they went through and how strong it was and how detailed, my wife and I decided we'd invest a small amount just to make sure. We knew we could lose $100 if it was a scam, so we weren't too concerned. But when we found out, no, this was going to be real, we were actually quite happy.
And can you tell me a little bit about your experience joining Addie as a member, how you found it and how you kind of chose the properties and all that backstory to using Addie?
My wife and I decided when we started this that we would choose only properties that were close enough for us to drive to.
So you could physically go to the property and see what you're investing in.
See what I'm investing in. The other point that went with it is, did it look like it would be reasonable that it's going to be in a community that is going to make it want to grow? One of the ones we bought into is the one in Mission. If you look at it, you put in the money, you're going to sit there and you're going to wait at least 2 years before you see anything. I said, I can wait 2 years. I know it's going to do something. They're going to grow because they're going to be useful. They're close to the transit. People are going to be able to say, okay, we can go live there and work in Vancouver. And we take the train back and forth. It's worth it.
So the Addie property would come up and you'd say, do we want it?
And this was what got me in the first place, was we invested very minor to begin with because we were worried it might be a scam. So that's why, unfortunately, and to this day, I still kick myself that I only invested $100 into the Chilliwack Starbucks. $100 doesn't sound like a lot of money to people. But at the time, for my wife and I, it was considered a major risk that we were willing to take. We knew we could lose 100 if it was something garbage. It has turned out not to be garbage, and a lot of his other properties have turned out not to be garbage.
So passive income is a word that gets thrown around quite a lot these days.
And it is good passive income.
It seems like Addie is actually a way to have a bit of a passive income, provided you're not looking to get filthy rich with this thing.
If you look at trying to get filthy rich, this is going to be a long haul. A person my age ain't going to get there. But if you got a person who's like 20 years old doing this, and he's got the money set aside that he can drop the maximum amount, whatever it happens to be. You do that several times in the year, yeah, you're going to make some money.
Okay.
Especially if they're good. And if you are patient enough to wait until they sell them, you're going to make a good sum of money. But if you're there and you're just thinking, okay, I want some passive income, that's going to help support us along the way when we get to retirement, this is a great way of doing it. You don't have to worry about what's going to come down. I've got some that are going to come up in 5 years, some are in 10. 5 years from now, I'll have a little bit of extra money. 10 years from now, I'll have a little bit more.
So it's kind of a guarantee that there's something coming back.
There's something coming back, even if it's just my original investment.
In short, would you recommend Addie as a platform to a friend?
I have recommended Addie as a platform to about 90% of the people I talk to in my taxi. If you're serious about putting away money for your retirement, this is a great way to do it. This is a great way it's going to make you money, and it will make you something, because real estate does nothing but go up.
Yeah.
Even when that goes down, it still goes back up.
Yeah. We've already met Keith Roy, and I believe you have met Keith yourself.
By pure chance. I got dispatched in the cab one morning to go to an address, pick up this family and take them to the airport. And I take them up Cambie Street. I said, it's a nice apartment building he just came out of. And he goes, yeah, I own it. And I go, oh, that's nice. How'd you do that? And he told me what he was doing. He says, my partner and I were looking for something else to look at. And I said, well, I got an idea for you. There's a company out there, it's called Addie. At this point in time, he starts chuckling. He said, well, see that building over there? And he's pointing to a building on the corner of 13th and Cambie. And I said, yeah, that's one of the buildings we're buying. He says, I'm your general partner.
No way.
Wait. I said, okay, I'm gonna dump a whole $1,500 on this. And this is a good thing with Addie. They trusted me enough to know that I had the money, although it wasn't in their Addie wallet, They were willing to let me put the full 1,500 down. I had 500, I think it was. I put the 500 down and I went and I got the remainder of it and put it into the Addie wallet to put on it. But they gave me the full 1,500 benefit right then and there without thinking twice. But to have them say, yeah, we trust you, put the $1,000 in, I jumped at it. I said, yeah, we're going to do this.
Albert, is there anything else that you'd like to say, to discuss, to talk about?
As far as I'm concerned, it is one of the best opportunities I've ever been in, and I'm happy about that. I'm successful with it, and that makes me jump for joy.
So the last few days have been a bit of a roller coaster. Crowdfunding for industrial commercial real estate is a pretty out-of-the-box idea, and the mountain of legislation, logistics and trust that needs to be built around that idea is gargantuan, which is one of the reasons I have been so impressed with Addie. Their level of transparency around the properties they offer to invest into, the relationships they form with general partners, and the ease in how you can use and navigate the app are all major wins in my book. Because, full disclosure, I did genuinely think Addie was a scam. I thought it was a company with skeletons in their closet trying to get rich quick by relying on the user to fund their investments without any risk to them. Now, the more I met with everyone though, the less convinced of that I became. For sure, Addie is trying to give everyone a chance to get their footing into a corner of real estate that most people usually don't even know exists. But they do seem to be doing it in quite an ethical and clear way. Now, do I believe you'll make your millions investing through the Addie app? Probably not. But if you're looking for a relatively safe investment into real estate, supported by some very established and clever people, Addie is most certainly worth looking into. As for me, and whether or not I'll be investing into the app, you know what? For the sake of a loony or a toonie, maybe it's time to find out what this whole thing is all about myself.